Hello, in this video I'm going to be showing you how you can use ChatGPT to create a web page and some of its capabilities that it has. One of the cool things about ChatGPT, if you've never used it before, is this one here where it allows users to provide follow-up corrections, and it also remembers what a user said earlier in the conversation. So using ChatGPT is rather like using it's like talking to a person basically. So let's just take a look here. For example, you could say how many days did the year 2018 have? It's going to tell you it had 365 days. Now to see if it remembered the response, you can ask, was it a leap year? So you can see that it's not only answering your initial question, but it's following up just like as if you were having a normal conversation. Also, one of the very cool things that I find that you can do with ChatGPT is you can use it to build websites and to create the code for you. So you could say, can you show me the code to for a web page that will get a user's name and email address using HTML forms. And you really don't need to put the question mark in there. It's just good grammar. It's just the way I do it. But you don't really have to put that in there. So if you want to see what it does, you can put that here. Now the cool thing about this is after it generates the code, you can save the code. If you have a web server, I use CentOS for a web server on Oracle, always free. It's a cloud provider there, so I have a web server that I use. But if you have a web server set up, you could just download this code to your web server, and you can just pull it up from your var www HTML directory or whatever directory you may be having your web root in. In this case, we have the form here, so I'm going to save this form and I'm going to pull it up as a web page so that you can see what it does. So I pulled up the form now, and this is the actual code that it generated. Of course, if you put your name in here, you can type a name, whatever you want to in here. You can type in whatever email address you need. But if you notice on the form itself, if we look at the code, it's actually called the input type is email, so you will need an @ symbol. It's smart enough to know that it doesn't have an @ symbol. Now from here, if you wanted to go further with this, you could ask ChatGPT, for example. You can ask it, can you show me the code? And PHP is what I like to use, but you could use Python or Node.js to read a form from a web page that had 2 elements, and of course our elements were name and email. So we'll just go back so you can see the name and email there, and we'll just go 2 elements, named, name, and email. And that's pretty much it. That will show you how you can use ChatGPT as a conversational method, and you can also use it to write your code for you. Um, if you had a problem with your code, you could also ask it, hey, what's wrong with my code? So if we go back to our test page here, and let's say we copy this, and I'm going to make a small adjustment to this. I'm going to make an error in this code to see if ChatGPT is smart enough to catch it. So we're going to take this bracket off the input field. There we go. So now that we have that, we're going to go back here. We're going to copy my code. And then we're going to use ChatGPT to actually fix our code for us. So you can say, my code below is not working. And then you can paste in your code. Submit it. And ChatGPT is going to read my code. And it's actually going to fix the code for me. Now, to expand on this a little farther, I will tell you first of all that ChatGPT is not perfect. There are some errors that it has. Um, so just don't just copy and paste everything that it says in there without actually looking at it. I did a example earlier where I asked it to do mental math, and it actually made a mistake for three-digit multiplication. So things like that can happen. There's a limitation to how many times you can use it in a day as far as if it's overcapacitated. If there's too many people using it, you may get a network error, or you may get a message saying that it's not able to be used at this time, or something very similar to that. So if we wanted to take our code here, we could ask it now, can you show me node.js code that can read the form that was submitted? If you notice this time I didn't put the question mark in here, that's just to show you guys that you don't have to be perfect with your grammar. ChatGPT is actually smart enough to know. So it not only wrote the code for me, it's actually explaining what each element does so that you can understand it a little bit better. So if you're just starting off with creating web pages and not sure which code you want to use, or don't have too much coding experience, this is going to be a big help to you. ChatGPT can do a lot more things. You could say something like, for example, what is a great place to take a date in Atlanta, Georgia? So you can see here it's doing something a little bit more personal that's not code related, not computer related. And if you don't want to see anything else past that, you can always click stop generating and it will stop its answer. So if you have a date, lucky you, and you can use one of these suggestions here for a good idea. And this is my basic introduction to ChatGPT. I will give you a heads up on this. You cannot use it for something illegal. For example, if you said, how do I make, I don't know, let's say, I don't know, a drug or something. How do I make crystal meth? So anybody wanting to do something nefarious or illegal, don't look to ChatGPT to do that. It's smart enough. The guys at OpenAI were creative and smart enough to put together something that will block you from doing things like this. So I find this very useful. You can also use ChatGPT into your own programs. You can incorporate it into your own programs. If you're just getting started, this is a great place to start. It's just by typing in things that you want to know about. Um, and just get familiar with it. Like I said, for me, it's like talking to a person. You can also use ChatGPT in your job if you're in IT or if you're in a business where you have to find details and stuff. You can use ChatGPT for that. I think there is a limitation to how far it can go. I believe 2020 is as far as it goes as far as data. For example, you could say, um, who won the Super Bowl in 2023 or 2022? Okay. Alright. And we can see here, it doesn't actually go past September 21st. So, to you guys that are new to ChatGPT and AI, I hope you find this video useful. If you did, please hit the subscribe button and hit the like button so more people can see it. And thank you.